Hello again, everyone. Welcome to the Eddie Sutton Show. I'm Tom Dirato in Oklahoma State. Knee-deep now in the Big 12 conference race, and we had 2 games in 3 days against top 25 teams. 1-1. You wanted 2-0, but you'd take this record, wouldn't you?
Well, I think with a young ball club, most coaches would take a 1-1 against 2 teams that are really legitimate top 25 ball clubs. We opened the Big 12 in Austin against the Longhorns, had the game tied at halftime, got in foul trouble in the second half, made a few mistakes, and lose the ball game 78-71. Then we came back on Sunday and had 1 day to practice to get ready for the Cyclones. And I was really proud of our ball club, the way they responded, and they got out there and fought their tails off. And Iowa State's really a good ball club, and we beat them in overtime 88-80.
There you're seeing some of the start for the Texas game, and we put this in only to show the uncanny ability of Mo Baker to get rebounds, and in this case he got fouled on the follow.
Well, I think it was one of the reasons we had a hard time late, because he was seated over there on the bench next to Coach Sutton and Coach Keller and Coach Cyprian and Coach Sutton, and he's too valuable not to have out there on the floor when it's crunch time. And I think he learned something from that, you know, if you get 3 or 4 fouls on you, you have to play a little more cautious.
You know, I think you had a question, a great block right there, before we went into this game as to how these youngsters really would react to the intensity level that you find in conference play. I think those were answered.
Well, you know, I think that was a big question mark, because you never know. Here you're playing with Andre and Fred and a little bit of Jason. He didn't play that much last year, but none of the other players had ever been in a Big 12 game, and the intensity level just increases by leaps and bounds over what it is in non-conference play. And to open in Texas, where I think they've won about 25 in a row.
That's correct, yeah.
We knew it was going to be tough, but they hung in there, and it was a heck of a ball game. And like I said, we had a chance to go in there and steal a game from them.
One of the things that you saw early on, a couple of penetration and pitch situations didn't make the Cowboy bench very happy, but you tightened that up. You know, got down by 7 or 8, but they showed their resolve coming back here.
Well, again, we've got to score points in transition, and that's a nice 2-on-1 break, and Sanders dropped it home. He was 13 points and 8 rebounds in the ball game. Maurice, I think you mentioned, had 26 points.
It seemed like you just decided about 6-7 minutes left in the first half. I don't know what the spread was. We're down by 7 or 8 to start getting physical with these guys. That's when you force turnovers, and really, here's one right here. It started to tilt the court in our favor.
Well, we do have good quickness on the perimeter, and when we're really out there overplaying passing lanes and putting pressure on the basketball, then you have a chance to run through some passes and convert them into easy baskets.
It was anybody's ball game right now. It started off well because Fred really didn't have many touches in the first half, and you got him involved early.
He didn't have enough touches in this ball game. He only got 5 shots, and the game with Iowa State, we told our players we got to get the ball to Fred, and he responded and I think had 26 points.
Well, there was a big turn of events right there. Mo picking up his 4th foul early in the second half, and he went out for about a 5 or 6 minute stretch, and they opened up a lead there that we never did. Were able to take over.
Those are the kind of passes that we've got to correct. Those are just careless passes, guys not squaring up, getting a triple threat position.
You didn't have any choice. You had to put him back in eventually to get some offense back.
Well, that's true.
And here he is coming back in, but you're going to see as the game goes on, though, he'll quickly pick up his 5th on a hustle play. At one time, he's over there, so is Vic with you, and you're trying to run an offense.
Well, when we don't have one of those guys out there, Tom, it's pretty difficult because they are really the only 2 legitimate point guards we have.
Look at that play right there. Again, he's playing with 4 fouls. At this point, goes right to the hole. You had to hold your breath on that call.
You know, Mo has really surpassed what we thought he could do this early in his career here at Oklahoma State. He's really been a pleasant surprise, and he not only scores, but he can defend. But I think the thing that sets him aside from so many guards is the fact that he's such a great rebounder.
I think his intensity is contagious, quite frankly. I think you could see as the year has gone on, his teammates have picked up on him.
There's no doubt that they have matured in that area, and I think that he is responsible for it.
There he goes, 26 points, 5 rebounds. That had to be a sinking feeling for you over there, huh?
It was a sinking feeling because I thought we really had a chance. In fact, we're not going to see it, but we had a chance to pull it to 1 point and Melvin carelessly missed a layup, and on the rebound we fouled. So instead of just being down 1, if he converts, all of a sudden we're down 5 because they hit the 2 free throws, and then we never did, get back after that. Iowa State came in, and the only loss they had was against their state rival, the University of Iowa, over in Iowa City. But they had 13-1. They had won 42 out of the last 46 games.
Boy, they're solid.
They are solid, and they can really shoot it. I tell you what, Horton, Sullivan, Tinsley, many people think Tinsley may be as good a point guard as there is in college basketball, but those 3 guys can really shoot it.
Well, they had 5 threes against us in the overtime game, and that was probably one area that worked to our favor because they had 12 in the first game at home against Oklahoma.
In order to beat Iowa State, you got to get back in transition. You got to shut off some of their 3-point looks because they just shoot the ball so well. Very well coached ball club. Larry does a great job. Their defense is solid. They don't make very many mistakes. Rebound the ball extremely well. There's a good hustle play right there.
Well, as you've said so many times, our offense is in gear when we got the court leaning in our direction, and that's done basically through turnovers.
Well, turnovers, and if you can control defensive board play, where you can get the ball out to your, look at this move.
Pretty good one-on-one right there.
But you got to finish it.
Yeah, and that's something that I see you talk about, so shall we say, each and every day in practice. But still, the Cowboys are up 36-32. We didn't even mention that what a way to reopen the new building. What a big crowd on hand to see 18th-ranked Cyclones.
It was a great evening, and it was a great college basketball game. I've talked to some of my former coaches that are head coaches now, and they watched the game. They said the atmosphere, they could just tell the intensity in the air. And I think everyone there just had a marvelous time. They still marvel at the arena, how nice it is. There are a lot of people that hadn't been there before. You
talk about intensity. I thought basically our big men had a lot more presence in this game, but Fred really kicked it up when he had to.
Fred had 26 points and 10 rebounds, and there's a great feed off to Jack Marlowe, our big freshman, and he dunked it home. I thought Victor played a lot better. He shot the ball better.
A couple of opportunities in the second half. We had control of the ball game and let it get away twice, about midway through the second half, and then obviously when Tinsley hit that miraculous 3 to send it into overtime. But you had to be happy with the way the guys came out in the second session.
Well, I thought our defense picked up, and one of the reasons it did was the play of Andre Williams. Andre has been playing so passive, and the way he really helps our ball club is by blocking shots, playing defense, rebounding. There he is. I think they only credited him with 4 blocks, but when we went back and graded the film, I think he had 6 blocks in this game.
Look at that move right there by Baker. Separates from 2 defenders and still hits a leaner that goes in off the glass. Here's what we're talking about. Active underneath again. Well, you probably didn't feel good. Probably didn't feel any worse, I should say, than Mo did. We'll see later on where he gets his cramps right here. And this was a key time in the ball game.
It was a key time, and I think that displays the competitive spirit that he has. Now, anyone that's ever had a cramp, you would know how painful it is. But he came back in that game twice. And our trainers worked on him, and our doctors did, and they finally got the pain to subside a little bit, but he did have to come off another time. There's a good defensive play by Fred.
And he goes to the free throw line.
The thing that killed us in this game, and we should never got in overtime, and this is one of the things that drives a lot of coaches out of the game, our inability to hit free throws. I mean, it was almost embarrassing because we had the game won in regulation, and we went up there, and Victor misses a couple, Mo misses 1, Fred misses some. I mean, our best shooters, and all of a sudden, here they have a chance to tie the game. Here comes
You wanted to foul him, didn't you?
Yeah, I was yelling. That's something that you can debate, and coaches do it every day, whether you should foul. We have a 3-point lead, really, with just a few seconds to go. And I was yelling at Mo. Normally I would not do that, but I was yelling at him to foul, and he couldn't hear us because it was so noisy in the arena.
But that bucket by Fred, I thought, really re-seized the momentum that we'd lost in regulation. We went on a 6-0 run, and even though we had to hold on at the end because of free throw shooting that didn't fall, at least we got control early of the overtime.
It's a nice move by Victor. We were concerned again with a young ball club, and I say we, the coaching staff, when they came over at the end of regulation, because what can happen sometimes, somebody hits a shot like Tinsley did, they have all the momentum going their way, and with a young ball club, you never know how they're going to react. But these guys bucked up and
picking up a couple of rebounds off of missed free throws.
He made 2 big plays on missed free throws. Right here's another one. That's just a hustle play. And then late here, he ties up one of the Iowa State players. So he earned his spurs. Big win for us. You know, it's tough to go into a league 0-2, and you got to win most of them at home. Hopefully he can win them all, but I thought our players really bounced back after our loss at Texas.
I looked over at you a couple of times during that game. You looked like you'd played each and every minute. That was a tough one on the guys in the suits.
There's been a lot of gut checks this year already, and there'll be a lot more with the outstanding ball clubs we're going to be faced in the Big 12.
You know, as mentioned, it was indeed a special night as the new Gallagher-Iba Arena was officially dedicated. Set your VCRs. You'll want to keep a copy of this week's Off the Court feature. We're back in a moment, so don't go away.
The
You know, there's so many memories connected with Gallagher-Iba Arena. We could spend an entire season trying to highlight them all. This past week, we added yet another memory to that long list, from the pregame festivities to the halftime ceremony to the final score, an exciting overtime win over 18th-ranked Iowa State. It was an evening that we will never forget. Here's another look at a very special Big Monday in Stillwater.
In the 1920s and 30s, athletes from Oklahoma A&M competed in the Armory and Gymnasium, a small dirt floor facility. It was a hot ticket despite the meager accommodations. Here you see fans literally hanging from the rafters to get a shot of the Aggies. It soon became clear with the increasing popularity of A&M sporting events that a larger venue was needed. With the vision of athletic director Henry P. Iba and President Henry G. Bennett, a new facility was built in 1938. Originally called the 4-H Club and Student Activity Building, at the time the facility was considered to be enormous. Although many people felt it could never be filled, the facility soon gained a reputation as the Madison Square Garden of the Plains. In 1939, the facility was renamed Gallagher Hall after longtime A&M coach Ed Gallagher, a fitting salute to the man considered to be the father of modern-day freestyle wrestling. Here you see footage of Mr. Iba's Cowboys, led by standout guard Eddie Sutton, upsetting Wilt Chamberlain's KU Jayhawks before a capacity crowd. In 1987, the legendary name of Iba was added as Gallagher Hall became Gallagher-Iba Arena. Gallagher-Iba has been home to more national champions than any other facility in the country, and through the more than 6 decades of concerts, graduations, conventions, and athletic events, this facility has touched more lives than any other in the state of Oklahoma. Many OSU supporters have dreamed that one day this grand old facility would hold twice as many fans.
It's a dream come true to watch the Cowboys play in this building.
Gallagher-Iba Arena is so awesome!
The rowdiest arena in the country. Go
It's a great place. I can't believe it's finally done.
Another great piece by Wade. It is amazing how wonderful that place is now. There are a lot of us that really fought to keep it at its location because of the great history of the arena. There were some people who want to go out and build a new one, but I'm glad we were able to do that, and I'm just amazed at the architects, how they got it where when you walk in there, if you don't look up, you still have the same feeling as the old Gallagher-Iba. Now you look up, and the seats just keep going up. But it is going to be a showcase for this university, and certainly one of the great facilities that you'll see in college basketball.
You know what was amazing? That we got that shot that you hit there.
People didn't know that was me.
Yeah, well,
I
they know it now.
And that quick release.
That quick release, that's what it was. Somewhat lost in the well-deserved attention Mo Baker has been receiving thus far has been the steady improvement of Melvin Sanders. You'll meet one of just 3 Cowboys to start every game this season when we return to the Eddie Sutton Show.
Now it's time for the Big Time Sports Apparel Player Spotlight. Each week we feature the Cowboy who typifies the big time attitude to dig down deeper. This week's Cowboy in the Player Spotlight is Melvin Sanders. Congratulations, when you wear big time, dig down deeper.
Welcome back to the show, and indeed, Melvin Sanders with us, and looks like you're starting to pick up the pace just when we need you the most right now. The last 3 or 4 games, you've been playing your best basketball.
Well, I was just trying to pick up the pace a little bit since Terrence Crawford's been out with that knee injury. I guess I got to play a lot more. It's 37, 38 minutes a game, so I guess it's about time for me to pick it up.
You'd like to see him pick up a double-double here in the near future.
That's what he's committed to me earlier today in our first practice session, that this Saturday when we play host to Texas Tech, he's going to get the first double-double at Oklahoma State. He had 8 rebounds at Texas, and he scored in double figures several times, so that's his goal for Saturday when we play Texas Tech.
We were talking about this on a radio interview a couple of shows back, but you like the role of being locked onto that offensive star for the other team. That defensive stopper is something you like.
Well, yeah, I kind of liked it. I guess in junior college, I could score a lot more and everything, but we got enough scorers on the team, I guess. So I don't mind playing defense and just accepting my role as guarding the best player.
And you don't mind mixing it up on the boards. You like to get in after that as well.
Well, yeah, I like going to defensive boards. Coach Sutton's teaching me a lot more since I don't go to offensive boards anymore since Mo Baker goes. Yes, I got to get a lot more defensive boards.
Melvin is a tremendous athlete for our people that are watching. In high school, he holds all the high school records in Kansas. He's long jumped over 25 feet. He's high jumped over 7, triple jumped over 50. Just a marvelous athlete. He comes from a great family, and we're just so pleased to have him here.
Before we let you go, again, coming off that win over Iowa State, guys are really pumped up for Texas Tech. No letdown there.
No letdown. We just got to come in and play hard and listen to what Coach says and not frustrate him too much and probably come out of there with a win.
We'll keep it going. Appreciate you being with us. Yeah. We'll be back to wrap it all up after this timeout. Well, we are back on the show, and it's time for the Reporter's Notebook. And our first item, it's over, and I know the kids are ready to see their friends and probably get off the court.
It will be good to start second semester and get back on a regular schedule, and the players are looking forward to having their friends back. I think we've accomplished a lot during the break.
More or less. Can you see a change in the new hand-checking rule?
Well, I think they're calling the game much closer, and I think it's been a little difficult for some of our players to adjust to that.
I know the lost art of free throw shooting.
They don't shoot them as well as they used to, but we're working on it. We're going to try to improve on our ball club.
We look at the standings, big game, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon.
I hope all of our fans will be as active as they were the other night against Iowa State.
Well, we'll see everybody out there at Gallagher-Iba Arena. For Eddie Sutton, our entire crew here at Educational Television Services, Tom Dirato. Goodbye, everybody.
The